Hello, everyone. I'm Mayor Scott Madison of the City of Clinton, and we're here for the next edition of the Mayor Spotlight. I'm down at the Genesis V&A with Michele Cullen, who's the Community Health Manager for Clinton County. Michele, thanks for meeting with me.
Sure. Great. Thank you for having me.
So the whole premise of this is we're getting out, we're trying to get accurate information out to people and just hit different businesses and obviously here and other places. So I think a lot of people probably don't know what you guys do down here. So why don't you just kind of start out, tell us what you do.
Sure. Well, I'm going to start pre-COVID because for many years I don't think people have realized that Clinton County Public Health is this building, is the people in the building, because the health department, sanitarian's office, environmental is over in DeWitt. So a lot of people get confused, but public health, which deals with the public, is here in this building. So we have a lot of different programs. We have an immunization program where maybe you've taken your baby to get their shots. Maybe you've heard of the school flu program where we've been in the elementary schools for almost 12 years now in the fall giving that. We have always done emergency preparedness, working with Chance Kness and in his department over there in our planning of any pandemic, any preparedness that way. We have a child care nurse consultant who goes to the preschools and other child cares and helps with quality there. And then one of our big projects is called the Community Health Needs Assessment. And I've worked with the city on that. I've worked with the county on that. Worked very closely with Mercy One on that, seeing what the needs in our community, what is lacking, what available resources there are, and kind of doing a report for the state. And then we set up committees. And so like we have a committee called Let's Live Healthy Clinton. And we've done some initiatives through the years. A very strong partner is the YW on that. And so we go and we've had a splash dash for kids. We've done some things with the schools. We were able to secure what we call 5210 funding and help with some additional little projects just to kind of promote health in the community that way. So those are kind of the big things that public health does besides the communicable disease. And so we've always done communicable disease. Maybe if you had somebody who had pertussis, you got a call from one of my nurses, or hepatitis, things like that we've followed as long as there's probably been public health. We've had to follow, there's 34 communicable disease that have to be followed in the state. Well then, as you just said, a year ago, we went into response mode for a pandemic. And so now, since COVID-19 started, we have been responsible for the public health response on that. And we've worked with just a ton of community partners, and we couldn't have done, what we do without those community partners. But the first part of this response was figuring out what needed to be done. And so we put our communicable disease hats on, and guided by the state and the CDC, when we would get the positive cases into the office, we had to call those people, go through what they needed to do. And with this response, we have talked with a lot of people about isolation guidelines, the unpopular 14-day quarantine guidelines.
Right.
So it wasn't just I'll give the example with hepatitis, it's one person mainly that it affects, and maybe some additional environmental things. But where COVID can affect so many more people and can spread so much faster. So therefore, it's been very time intensive that way. And so then we kind of got into a flow with that. We kind of knew, what to do there. But another thing that was kind of new to us was all the communication. We know what we needed to do, but we needed to tell the public what we were doing, and that we were aware of what was going on in the community. And so that's where the city of Clinton, the EMA, the county, the chamber, all those people became so important because they were helping us get the word out and communicating with the public, because we wanted to put the public at ease that yes, this was serious. but there was a process that they could follow. And so we followed that, and we saw our numbers spike in November, and working a lot with the school, especially last summer on the return to learn plans, and just making sure that they could provide a safe environment to the schools. So we were meeting weekly, and then once school started, it was like daily phone calls, and then we kind of got through that, and things were going pretty well. And then after the first of the year, just before the first of the year, we started the vaccine in the clinics, and so that's been time consuming, but that's been exciting too, because it's like I say, that is kind of our light at the end of the tunnel, that we know as more people get vaccinated and we kind of develop that herd immunity, that we can go back to living our new normal. I'm going to call it. I'm not going to call it's going to be different from pre-COVID, but hopefully it's going to be enable us to get out and be with our family, be with our friends, and do the things that we like to do.
Right.
So that's kind of in a nutshell what we do here.
Yeah. So obviously COVID was 2020 was a crazy year because of COVID. What's something that you learned last year that you may have never learned before in your career prior to that?
So one of the things, like I just kind of mentioned, is the communication. Always been a component that good communication is the key, but I think I realized even more the need for transparency, the need to communicate to so many different levels and so many different populations, and that you may think that you're over communicating, and you find out that you're not. And so that's kind of been an opportunity for improvement. And so we've worked hard to do that. Had a lot of help from, other people who that's their expertise and things like that. And, new with this pandemic versus I was around during H1N1, and new with this was social media.
Right.
And so tapping into the social media and all the different angles, and making sure that what we're saying on one social media site is the same that we're saying on the other. And so making sure that everybody's has the same message, the same constant message.
Yeah, and I think that's extremely important. And we were doing the biweekly COVID briefs at the city, and you came and chatted with us last spring, and I really appreciated that too, because I had a lot of folks contacting me. What are we doing? What's going on? What are the rules? And your office really did, and yourself really helped me out. So I appreciate that, and I think that was an important side of us too. Is we get information from you, and then we were trying to shell it out as quickly as we could as well, because it was a really uncertain time. I think still I don't want to say we've gotten used to COVID, but I think
we've adapted.
We've adapted a little bit, yeah. So, but no, I appreciate that, and I appreciate all you do and your team down here, because I think it's extremely important for our citizens and the county in general. So.
Yeah, well, thanks.
Is there anything else you want to highlight that you guys do down here, or that services that you offer that people may not know about?
Well, I think most people know that we're doing the vaccination clinics. That we, the vaccine allocations come in to public health, and then we have a vaccination group in the county, and that group is most of the pharmacies in town, of course Mercy One, Genesis, and we talk on who can do the clinics, and we've really been limited to 800, and when you're looking at a population of 48,000,
right,
800 isn't a lot, because also you can vaccinate if, like, I work at ADM but I'm from Illinois, or I'm from Jackson County or Cedar County, you can vaccinate those people also. So it's been very limited. So I think just to tell people that the vaccine, they're going to get vaccinated. It's going to happen, but you have to be patient. And I was just on a vaccine meeting at noon, and allocations for next week should be about the same, but then they're hoping after that maybe they'll start to go up a little bit. And then with April 5th, we can really vaccinate anybody. We usually get Moderna, and so that's 18 and above. So we can pretty much vaccinate anybody at that time. So things will open up. It may be a little bit frustrating at first if we don't get additional vaccine, because it'll be even more limited for a larger population, but yet people should be hopeful that they, will be able to get it soon. We had some exciting news this week. We are getting some Johnson & Johnson next week, the one-time dose. That is limited by the state to manufacturers. So like ADM will be getting that. We're going to work with Custom Pack, Westrock.
Yep.
And so those are the three that were on the list. Lyndell is getting it this week. So they were started their clinics 1 week too soon, but I'm just glad that they got them going, and that's good. And then Kleizar is working with Hy-Vee, and Nestle had already started theirs with Hy-Vee. So we're really trying to work. We've got a few more of the larger plants that we'll get on the list there, hopefully the next week after that. So that's exciting that we're getting additional doses too, and working with those plans so we can just go in there one time and don't have to disrupt things for 2 clinics.
We have a lot of essential workers in our community between all those places and more that were mentioned, and it's great to see that we're getting those people taken care of, because that's important to not only keep the economy in Clinton going, but these are global brands that have to get their product out all over the place. So thank you very much, and I appreciate your time today. Well, and thanks for doing this, and hopefully we can meet up again, but not during or after a pandemic, and have another update. So
I'd love it.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's the latest edition of the Mayor Spotlight. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.